With NFR Extra, we're going to take you behind the scenes in a way you've never heard before. Every 2 weeks, you're going to hear personal conversations with the icons and personalities that make up the world's richest and most prestigious rodeo. NFR Extra. All dirt, all rodeo, all year.
Robbie, here we are. Another episode, another great one.
Yeah, we're on the downhill side here.
Yeah, Saturday is right around the corner, isn't it?
I know, and I'm kind of going to miss this a
I'm
little
totally
bit.
going to miss this.
I had no idea that we would carry these folks down the paths we're taking them, and some of the answers we're getting, and they're really enjoying just getting to talk instead of that 2-minute elevator interview.
Yeah, well, yeah, and very limited on time. And here we are with, just to quantify the amount of gold buckles that are on this episode.
Yeah, a dump truck load.
26.
Yeah, right
25
here.
for one guy and one for the other.
Yeah, we got to talk to Trevor today. And
Trevor Brazile.
Yeah, I really enjoyed like his stuff about taking his kids to school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And how he's back to norm of the regular family now, because people don't realize the toll that it takes on families here when you're rodeoing, and the way he was, with Shatta and how tough now that he's splitting the duties of being a dad and being at home all the time. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, well, and also diving into his career over time. And obviously we're going to talk about, the many gold buckles he's won, but he's going to share there's certain special moments, and you're going to be pretty surprised when he tells you what those were and where they were within those 25 that he won.
Absolutely. And then David Motes, he's a champion and he reared a champion. So, it was a good interview. He made team roping. Yeah, he made it very interesting in the way he did, and he had all 10 fingers and thumbs.
Yeah, we had to check that. I mean, you won't be able to see that on the podcast.
Yeah, but I counted them all for you to make sure. But when you do the autograph, when you do the autograph sessions here for the team ropers, there's like 11 thumbs left in the whole bunch. But I hope you guys enjoy it. Take a listen. Let us know what you think.
This is Brylan Bentley with Rodeo News of the Week. On December 13th in Las Vegas, you can find the 33rd Annual Spurs and Spikes Golf Tournament at Valley High Golf Club on the Las Vegas Strip, 8 a.m. South Point Hotel hosts the Western Gift Show opening at 9 a.m. Wrangler NFR autograph session with Saddle Bronc riders at the Harris Toby Keith I Love This Bar and Grill from 12 to 2. Chad Prather will be at Treasure Island. Coy Wetzel at the Hard Rock. Wrangler NFR Go Around Buckle presentation hosted by Flint Rasmussen and Randy Corley at South Point Hotel and Casino. Now, let's rewind to last night's rodeo.
Round 7 of the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. Let's call it moving day because we saw some guys and gals take steps toward world championships. Some are a bit of a surprise, others we've been expecting it.
Yeah, we have been. I think the biggest step, well, 2 big steps in my opinion, came in the saddlebrook riding and the bareback riding. Clayton Bigelow, wow, what a night did he have.
He has now won or split first in 3 straight rounds. He wins it outright last night, 91.5 points.
Bigelow, he's been matched up with some kind of rank horses. This by far the rankest. Ankle biter, turns back at any point right here. He could have got bucked off. Great job by Clayton Bigelow.
Steer wrestling, Stetson Jorgensen came in number 5 in the world. He's fallen a few spots, but he got it done last night.
Well, he had the steer everybody wanted, but you still have to go and pull it off, and Jorgensen wins the round.
Magic number in team roping, 3.6 seconds.
Yeah, Wesley Thorpe, that first jump out of the hole, great run. That is so fast. I just can't imagine roping a steer that quick.
The matchup of the night, Zeke Thurston against Get Smart, the saddle bronc of the year. Zeke is the winner.
They don't ride this horse very often. Zeke had some history with him, and he knew what he had to do, and that's what he did, a half a point from the arena record.
He was not intimidated.
No.
Tyler Milligan, 7.5 seconds, go-around winner in tie-down roping.
Yeah, great run by Tyler. I mean, step by step, that's what he did. That's excellent to win nearly $27,000.
Haley Kindle was kind of down early in the week, and the reigning world champion tips that one right there. That was huge that it stayed up, and she was the go-round winner.
It stayed up, and it put her in a position now to win a world title as you see her and sister get out of the arena. Great run, and it was down towards the bottom of the ground.
Nasty pin of bulls out in bull riding, and no surprise, the guy that's number 1 in the world, number 1 in the average, 5 straight world titles. Sage Kimsey, the winner with 90 points.
Yeah, this bull's been out 52 times. Only 4 guys have ridden him until then. Now he's been ridden 5 times. Kimsey wins.
And Tough Cooper had a good night in tie-down roping. The Ram all-around standings, now very much a player for maybe a second all-around gold buckle.
And maybe a title in the tie-down roping as well.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting. Keep in mind, round number 8 coming your way. It all starts 10 p.m. Eastern time tonight. We'll see you right here on CBS Sports Network.
Looking for tickets to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo? StubHub is the official secondary and fan-to-fan site of the rodeo. Fans can buy and sell their tickets through a safe and secure online marketplace. Visit nfrexperience.com.
To celebrate the 35th anniversary of the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas, LVE and PRCA present the top 35 most memorable moments.
Never count out Trevor Brazile. That's a lesson learned long ago by every cowboy brave enough to go toe-to-toe with the king of the cowboys. Brazile announced his retirement from full-time rodeo just prior to the 2018 Wrangler NFR. When the lights went out on round 10 last year, he finished a script that was Hollywood-worthy, needing a win in the final round in tie-down roping to outduel his biggest rival, Tough Cooper, for the 2018 all-around world title.
He puts a rap movie on him and says, you know what, Tough? If you're going to beat me, you're going to have to come do it, buddy.
The winningest cowboy of all time rode out of Thomas and Mack with a 24th gold buckle, his 14th world champion all-around title. No one owns more records than Trevor Brazile, starting with his gold standard of 54 total national finals qualifications. Professional rodeo's only $6 million man, 73 NFR go-around wins, 14 all-around world titles, and he's won nearly $3 million just at the National Finals Rodeo. To add to his incredible NFR legacy, Brazile is qualified in tie-down roping. He's qualified in team roping as a header and a heeler, throw-in steer roping, and he's qualified for the National Finals in 4 different events and won world titles in 4 different categories. Even though Brazile is semi-retired, he recently won his 25th World Championship, showing the world and his peers that he's still got it at the National Finals steer roping. However, at this year's Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, the king of the cowboys will just be a spectator.
This is an emotional night for me because this is the last night I'm going to be standing right here. But I'm going to be sitting where you guys are because of who's around me right now. The future of this sport is so bright. Pro Rodeo's in a good spot. I'm going out in an unbelievable spot. I love you. Everything I've got has been through rodeo. Thank you.
Trevor Brazile.
Robbie, it has been one roller coaster week.
It's been a
this
good
thing,
one, man.
right?
Lots of good comments on some of these guys. We're digging in. We're going to have to get us like a therapeutic couch.
Like I said, I think I'm going to be having withdrawals next week because we won't have anybody to talk to.
good
I'm going to have
week.
to bug my wife.
You bet, man. What a fun time.
Well, here we are. This guest, like many others, has risen the bar and has more gold buckles than, I don't know, a leprechaun, right? I mean, he's got a pretty big room full of gold.
Yeah.
World champion, 25-time world champion, Trevor Brazile. Welcome to the show, Trevor.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Hey, Trev. How are you, man?
I'm good.
Yeah.
How's retirement?
It's awesome.
Is it?
It doesn't feel like retirement during Vegas, but
exactly.
But they keep me pretty busy out here. I just don't have to shake my face at night.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, okay, so we started this off by saying 25-time world champ. So last year, I remember, there were some things that happened. You retired right at the beginning of the NFR.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went and decided to go win the all-around, okay?
Yeah.
And you had 24. So we said you retired.
Yeah.
So, but then I started this thing by saying 25. What did you just get out of that this past, I don't know, month or so?
Well, I won the world championship in steer roping, but I got a disclaimer in there. It was semi-retirement, number one, and I
Accidentally
did
won that
reduce
one.
my schedule by about 75%. So just focusing on one event, going to about 25 events this year was such a welcome schedule for me, and to be able to still see the guys that I wouldn't have got to see that I've lived my life out here on the road. So being able to be around those guys still at rodeos like Cheyenne and Pendleton, those bigger rodeos, so I get to see everybody and still keep my competitive juices flowing. So it was a awesome year, but I don't know. I'll probably scale back even more next year.
So what are you going to do? Accidentally go to 25 and make the NFR in an event? Is that
No,
okay.
no. That was
What if you do?
my main goodbye. My main goodbye last year was to the National Finals Rodeo and the fans here, because that was my last time that I was ever going to try to be right here in Vegas.
But, yeah, okay, but you just said you scaled back 75%. You hear that, contestants out there? Like, he pulled back 75% and still here you are. You know what I mean? You're still at a level. I paid attention to standings all year long. You were there at 75% less. That's all. And we won't beat that up too much, but man, you're consistent. And the thing that comes to my mind, being here in Vegas, one of our legends that we have quite a few guys. We have Andre Agassi that has grown up in this community, but there's another guy that nobody really talks about, and he's very similar to demeanor. You guys just have this cool demeanor. Your consistency puts you in the top tier of your peers. And his name is Greg Maddox. When you hear him, So very
Greg
similar.
Maddox?
Yeah. And I've met Greg and I met
Go
Trevor.
Braves.
They're very similar. You meet these guys and they have a cool demeanor to you, but you just the things that you do on a consistent basis are so amazing on the level of that no one else can match. And I don't know. I'm blown away by what you do, Trevor.
Well, I appreciate that, but it's a little overwhelming for me to walk in here. I've never been hosted by anyone that had gold microphones. I feel like y'all stepped a level up a notch.
Bought,
too.
not earned.
This is an award-winning podcast, so we might as well have gold microphones.
To be honest with you, yesterday when we were doing a couple other guys, we just used the silver ones. But when you came in today,
Well, I
we
appreciate
thought,
that.
in honor of you, we'd get the gold ones out. So, anyway, how is it being home with the kids and stuff? I mean, are you?
I tell you, it's a completely different change, but for the better part of the day, I do what I've always done. My passion is horses, roping. Once I drop the kids off at school and get done being a dad for a second while they're at school, I'm roping, riding horses, training horses, doing some private lessons, whatever needs to be done till it's time to pick them up. So I still get a lot of time to not necessarily, rodeo or anything, but still that my passion was being a cowboy, and I still get to be a cowboy every day. So that's all that matters.
That's great. I bet it is. So you pull up there in Old Dooley and drop the kids. See you today, Dad. And you won't be flying out anywhere.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
I've been threatening to get an old Lincoln Town Car because I love them, and I just want to get one restored, and that's going to be my run around.
You're gonna have so much fun.
So you came here, I think, 98? Is that when you?
98 was my first time.
So what I remember, I'm just kind of throwing these things out there, and we'll kind of start from there and go forward. But there's a picture we have, and today's retro day at the NFR tonight, right? And there is a picture that we have of you, and I think it's like red, white, and blue, and it's striped, and it looks like it's like 80s, but it's retro. I forget, like the 90s are a long time ago.
Retro days anywhere scare me, especially in FR archives.
Oh my gosh, you can get some horses running across the shirt and some flames if you're not real careful.
I know.
The reason why I bring that up is, here you are. We just rattled off a lot of accolades that you've had, but we'll go back to that time. What was the young Trevor thinking? Like, were you setting the goal, say, I want 20, I want 5, I want 1? What was the concept of where you were as a young guy and where you're at now?
In 1998,
I
was thinking, I just want to be back. I mean, this was awesome. I mean, I was here as a healer my first time.
Yep.
I also was in the tie-down roping that whole year and did not make it. And so, I mean, obviously, I wanted to be back. You got to set those small goals first. If I'm here in 2 events, it's going to obviously help me get closer to my ultimate goal, which was to try to win an all-around world championship.
And once you did that, and this is, we're going to bring up some Joe Beaver type stuff and Tough Heat and what they were talking about this, is that Joe was saying that once you win the first one, everybody has that opportunity to win that first one. But after you win the first one, and you clearly have done this multiple times, where does the pressure come, or is there pressure, or is there a level that you put yourself on or others to win the second, the third, and then obviously for you to go up into the 20s, basically?
Well, there's a misconception that once you win a world championship or once you've arrived at your first goal, the second goal's easier. I had more pressure on me my final year here than I did any other. It nice. Constantly builds, because every title you win, every accolade you get, people have that in mind when they're buying a ticket or they're coming to see this. And it doesn't matter where you're at, but it's at the NFR, it's times 1,000.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter. You could be in Small Rodeo USA and hit one in the butt in the roping and then come out to the trailer and be like, dang, we drove all the way from the neighboring community 2.5 hours from here to see you. We hoped you did better than that. And I was like, man, even when you think it doesn't matter, people are watching, And so that pressure never leaves. It just magnifies.
So, okay, so now that actually brings up this next piece that makes a lot more sense. So here you are closing that out, but then you go and set a time record. I mean, that is on the way out the door. You're like, I'm going to do this in 6.5 seconds. How did you feel after you did that? Was that a bigger accomplishment than like kind of that consistency have you done?
It was, because I was known, for that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my attribute, physically, would have never been the strength and some of the stuff that Joe Beaver and Fred Whitfield and Cody Owl had, but it was speed. But in the business that I was in, the consistency is what paid the bills, won the championships. And so being able to kind of be in the record books for something other than that, it meant a lot to me, because I watched the record that I tied, and I remember how cool it was being able to see that. So
all right, but at this point where you're at now, when you retired last year, I mean, and now you've been going to rodeos, and we saw the other night. So we saw Trevor Charlie Daniels, and he was smiling. This is NFR retirement, right? How is it going to these rodeos? Because there's some sweet rodeos out there. Are you enjoying it a little bit more to where you're not kind of just coming in there super focused to compete and just kind of look like now you're kind of stepping back? Wow, this is. I mean, like.
Well, I mean, last year when I left here,
yeah,
I was qualified for all those sweet rodeos you're talking about. This year, I'm not. So it's up in the air if I'll be at any rodeo.
Yeah.
A few of the big rodeos like Calgary and Houston have invitations. Hello, Calgary and Houston, if you're listening, come in. But, I mean, like, so that's really my only way in without getting on the hamster wheel again, and going. So, but that pressure that I'm talking about, watching the NFR out here, that blanket has just lifted. I mean, I love it, but I loved them both, but I love this in a new capacity to where I can talk to my wife. Interact with the fans that have been so awesome to me this whole time.
Yeah,
that's good. I'm glad you're getting to enjoy that. I sat there the other night after, I went there in the barrel, and I was like, I used to say, well, I feel like a dunce because I'm sitting here and I should be down there or something.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's pretty comfortable, isn't it?
It really is.
And you get to watch a great rodeo, too. You never got to watch the NFR, have you? I mean,
97 was the last time that I just came out here to watch the NFR.
And watch It's a pretty doggone good rodeo.
It's an awesome rodeo, and that's what I said. I mean, this is enjoyable from a fan. I don't care what skill level you're at. I mean, if you don't appreciate the NFR, I don't know what's wrong with you.
So this is the other part that I've been around pro sports for about 20 years. And one of the things that I see, and it's more of this kind of this happiness, NFL, NBA, whatever it is, but the guys that have risen the bar, they got titles, and now you're retired, coming back and being involved in the overall, like just being with, I'm just kind of making these things up, but like CBS Sports, come back and commentating, or, like when you hear Tony Romo, now you're like, oh man, he's talented, right? But they're all happy because it's like they're still around the sport, but they're still, still there. Do you see yourself maybe getting in TV or being a little bit more kind of giving back in a way that everything that's you've earned and learned and like to share all that? I mean, do you maybe plan on doing that down the road?
I don't know. It's just hard because I've never been a big public speaker, or every time I see myself on TV, I feel like I have a face for radio or podcast. And every time I hear myself on a podcast, I'm thinking I need to write a book. This sounds terrible, so it's just hard to get used to.
Yeah. So, I mean, because if you think of everyone always, and for your consistency, you've won so much, is there anything along this way that any of these championships, any ones that stick out? Was there any one that like you, that kind of come to mind? Like I'm just going to, 2005, 2002, 2003, 2010. Was there anyone that sticks out where you like, it was the hardest one? I mean, they're all hard, but there's one that like, you feel like, man, I had to do everything I had to do to get this. Like there was just a lot more.
Yeah, I could sit here and lie to you and tell you how special all of them were, and which they were in their own little ways. But my first and last were my two hardest fought championships.
Nice.
Went through the 10th round. It was really cool. Maybe not the way I would have wanted to go out personally, but as far as a storybook ending, finishing it the same way, having to grind it out the same way you won your first one to the way you finished it, it was really special.
What do you think of because there's a lot of young guys on the circuit right now. Caleb Schmidt. I mean, obviously Tough Cooper. What do you like? Would you want to come into this era right now, like the '98 Trevor Brazile? How would you feel about coming to the competition right now?
Oh, I mean, just like everybody else now, I'm a fan from home. I feel like I can critique everybody now. No, but I mean, you're the two guys that you're talking about right now. They're not young when you look at this field.
No,
I mean they are relatively speaking.
To us.
We've got 6 rookies out here that are setting the world on fire. You know, this is probably the strongest rookie class that I've seen in professional rodeo since I've been in here. You know, you got guys like Tough, you know, and there was a couple guys, you know, in his rookie class that were really special. And you could pick out a couple guys here and there that were going to eventually make it. We've got 6 guys just in the tight end roping that you don't say are eventually making it because they're here. I mean, that's an easy bet.
Yeah, the entire field of the bull riders.
Well, the bull riders, the tie down ropers, those are 2 rookie races that they couldn't even give away at the banquet because they're still fighting it out. I mean, because that hasn't happened in so long. I mean, in my time, I haven't seen it. I mean, the rookie race is a deal, and it's. I just assumed it was over because rookies don't do what these rookies are doing, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah, do you remember when the rookies didn't go to the NFR? I mean, even.
Well, I spoke at the rookie luncheon, and I'm just like, you better go home with the same intensity that you started this year with because I'm one of the guys that wasn't good enough to win the overall rookie of the year. I remember watching Shane Slack be a rookie of the year I was and make the national finals. And I wasn't that guy. But if you don't think that's motivating somebody else.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. That's a good point. Yeah. You bet.
And so you've obviously created a lot of motivation for your events because of what you've done. Now, over the long period of time, you just go through all the records that you've done, but I think of when it's all happened here in Vegas. What does Vegas mean to you as far as rodeo and kind of the NFR? And I mean, where is that in your heart and your mind, and what this place has become for you?
Oh my gosh! I mean, I've spent no less than a month of my life every year. You know, so I mean, that's a lot of time to spend in any town that you don't live in.
Yeah.
But Vegas is literally my second home. I spend more time here than I do any other place other than my house. And so I can, you know, if stuff gets rocky, I'm sure I can come back and drive an Uber or a taxi because I know where everything is. I know all the back roads. I've been running
speak
late
English too.
everywhere.
Hello.
So, all right. So knowing that, and we have a lot of events that go on here in town. One of them is the Team Roping World Series. Do you get to go enjoy some of this stuff? Have you been doing that this past week? Going and checking out some of your cronies over there and then just enjoying it?
One of my best partners is Ariat, and I got to go present a check at the Ariat 12.5. That's the team rope and the amateur team rope. Each one has a handicap. One will be a 12.5. One will be 11. So anybody that knows golf knows what we're talking about. But I was able to go over there on I think it was a Wednesday or Tuesday afternoon, midday, and hand somebody a check for $242,000. I mean, where else does that happen?
Yeah.
I mean, but I mean, that was just that roping. The next day, it happened again. I mean, Vegas, big things happen here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So think about this: if you were here in '98, having all that, you'd probably have a lot more money in your pocket, right? If the things that we're doing here, and with that, just the participation of knowing the growth. Do you like where team roping tie down is going on? I'm not rodeo itself, but like the growth of that event.
I mean, team roping has grown exponentially over. I mean, from just what I've seen the last 10 years.
Yeah,
I don't know anything that could rival it. It's crazy, and it's awesome. I mean, I wouldn't change anything in my career because I would have probably made some really bad decisions if they had handed me $242,000 at that age.
Yeah, right.
But it's an amazing opportunity.
So in '98, for the first couple of years, we ask all the contestants that have been coming here for the past 35 years, where did you stay?
Oh gosh, my Vegas story is pretty crazy because I came out here with Roy Cooper for the first time in 1995.
Whoa.
And to see, we stayed at the Treasure Island, and to see just the Vegas, oh my gosh, the people that were just at the Treasure Island back then, Bill Macbeth, Scott Sabella, Trevor Shear, all of them
dropping right now.
have been everywhere since then.
True.
So I mean, in a way, I feel like I kickstarted their career.
Yeah.
No.
You got
But I
their
mean,
salary.
it's amazing the people that we've got to meet. I mean, those guys have been president of LVE,
Yeah.
president of Bellagio, president of MGM. I mean, you name it, those guys have done it, and it was just awesome to be able to be with like Roy back then.
Oh my
to
gosh.
just to meet some of the people that would be so influential in Vegas.
Right on.
Well, and it's funny you bring those guys up because, as I've learned, those guys care so much about this Vegas rodeo relationship that, I mean, a lot of people don't know that. You know, they see all this stuff. They go to Rodeo Vegas. They go to Gillies at TI. They go to MGM, Gold Buckle Zone. They don't realize behind the scenes, I mean, and none of us claiming to be cowboys, but, man, we care about your guys'
This
life.
doesn't, you can't expect, I don't care how good it's been, for how long it's been that good. It doesn't just happen. And like I say, I come out here at the MGM. I stay busy. You know, I've stayed, been at the MGM for almost, I would say, the last 8 years.
Yep.
And so I know every nook and cranny over there. And it's not just because it's got the best after party at the Gold Buckle Zone, or just because I love the food there, but it's where I like to be. I can't wait to get out here.
So what do you got going on for 2020? I mean, is there anything else that you're doing that? Well, I'm bringing this up because there's a lot going on with this youth circuit world, right? You know, we got our Junior World Finals here. You got the Junior NFR just announced. You have the Junior American. Clearly, this wasn't happening when you were a young guy growing up. But are you looking at maybe down the road getting involved? I mean, I know Tough is. Roy has helped. Joe Beaver talked about it. You know, the importance of the youth to the overall sport in anything. And I see this, my son plays club soccer. I see all of that and how that happens. Where do you see, how would, this stuff helps out so much, but where does it fit with what you may be doing down the road? I mean, is this something that you may be kind of looking to getting involved or helping? You get kids and are they getting involved? And the other reason I say this is you're going back to roping and how important it is. I see it here at Cowboy Christmas, just in a very, very small camera lens. And you see kids running around here with roping and just they're walking through the halls with their parents and they're just trying to rope things.
Yeah.
They now have a place to go to, which, I mean, I know do the 90s and Little Britches and things like that we talk about, but today there's a serious emphasis going on. I mean, how do you feel about that? And then where this is going?
This is another reason why I don't feel qualified to do these things, because I was just talking about how much team roping's grown and how I didn't think anything could parallel that. But you got the women's breakaway that has just leaps and bounds. Women's roping in general is up as much as anything, but this junior stuff, that it's everywhere. And not only, it just helps parlay the trip to Vegas, because it was just one thing in Vegas, and now when they get there, if it doesn't go just right, they've got that backup plan. So there's so many people feeding into the junior ranks or junior divisions right now that, I mean, there's no telling, like, that rookie class when it comes full circle.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't know that they need another Trevor Brazile junior rodeo, but I sure want to find my place, you know, to help the next generations coming up. But
yeah, when you say that, with these junior things and everything, back when you started, even in '98 when we high school rodeoed and stuff, that didn't pay. Now,
no.
You know, it cost it was a money funnel, and now these
Robbie,
kids.
I was going right there. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be a money funnel to take. You know, you had to have another job just to go high school rodeo and everything. A lot of people didn't go to college because it didn't pay like now. I mean, there's kids here with 16. Joe was talking about one the other day, won 16,000 here.
yeah,
For one event.
it is. It's unbelievable, but it still costs a lot of money to do what we love to do.
Yes.
So we
And
broke that down.
there's a reason why every time you give one of these young guys or girls the microphone, they're thinking their mom and dad, because in our industry, we're still raising them that way. And I'm proud of that, because they have to go out and do enough stuff on their own that they know it doesn't happen, you know, easy. And to see the sacrifices that their moms and dads make, that's why that bond is so strong in our industry, because it's one of those things that you can't do by yourself. It takes a village, and I wouldn't change that part of it.
That's the second person that
Joe
said
broke that down. So
Yeah.
Beaver was on and he was talking about, well, number one, I think said 247,000 earlier. So what did we map it out to for if you're doing youth rodeo? 250,000, I think it was, to get going.
just to haul, you know, have horses and a rig and
Just, you know, $250,000.
Yeah.
No problem. Right? Yeah, to Trevor's point, the parents are involved. So that was the other thing Joe talked about, was this whole concept of the business side of you guys. And there's a business side of, we're talking about $250,000 to get someone. There's business, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's trailers, there's your horses, taking care of them, all that stuff. Along the way, how did you keep it going? I mean, who helped you in all these gold buckles? Who helped you along the way to kind of map out your world? Was it you? I mean, did you have a lot of help around you?
I mean, just like I said, we always have a lot of help around me. But like I tell you, the biggest thing that made me look at it like a business is, my junior rodeo rig was a $2,500 truck that overheated in most every rodeo I went to with a $600 2-horse side-by-side trailer. And, those kind of beginnings make you, number one, manage stuff a lot better, set goals, where you want to be. There's always a next level. And, I think as long as you keep your kids and even guys in rodeo, as long as you keep setting the next bar and never being comfortable where you're at, I think that's the biggest help you can give anybody, is to keep that hunger. And that's the biggest trick to once you get successful. They say the greatest threat to future success is current success, and figuring out how to stay hungry after you've just eaten. That's the part. That's the part you got to get to.
That's
Well,
clever.
speaking of that, so being consistent as you were, the other part that we understand, it takes a toll on you're jumping off a horse flying, and you do that a lot throughout the entire year. Knees, body. Clearly, you did something to keep your body healthy. What did you do? And we'll back into like a daily situation, but what did you do over your career to keep you healthy?
Well, I partnered about 10 to 12 years ago with a group called Platinum Performance.
Yep.
And it was about horses. But I've learned more about human science through equine science and the parallels that I can't even go into. But learning how many things, preventative stuff that they've, instead of treating problems that finally rear their ugly heads further in your career, they're treating these horses with supplements and the right diet. That's it was a whole different approach. That preventative approach has helped enlighten me a little bit, although I haven't stayed with it the way I should. But just the knowledge, you have to stay a little truer to it, because I've had the cortisone injections. I've had the standard athlete fixes, and they don't last long, and there's no future in it.
Right.
So
Plus, you didn't bulldog or ride bareback horses either, so that helps.
I did bulldog, just not well.
That's usually how you get the knees. Yeah, I got you. I can't imagine him not doing much well. But
Oh, yeah, exactly.
thank goodness you don't clown.
What
Next
did you
year, next,
do?
you should do that.
Oh my goodness. What did you do in between? So all the runs you did, it's kind of fun hearing what each athlete does here when you're in Vegas. So there's been a couple of concepts, right? Whatever you've been doing all year long, you keep doing it, right? What did you do in your daily in between? There's other people like, man, I was drinking at night, I was doing this, but so I kept doing that too when I got into Vegas. What did you do consistently coming in, and that you had to do in between the days of the 10 days to bring them those gold buckles?
That's probably the best question I think you've asked. That'll probably be the difference, because my appearances start at 10 a.m. because my sponsors were a huge part of my whole story. And so this is a time where you pay the piper. This is a time where the people that supported Ariat, they bring me in there to shake their hand, and all those sponsors. Right. So we've got 10 to 11, 11 to 12. I always set 2 to 3. Nothing.
Nice.
Nothing
Cowboy
but 2 to
nap.
3. Nope.
Oh,
Practice.
oh wow.
Really?
No matter what.
Wow.
2 to 3. I don't care if I just roped the dummy. I don't care if I rode my horse, or if I went full contact, or if I just tied. But talk about doing what you always do. I've been a big practice guy, and I wasn't going to deviate from that out here.
Well, I
Take
see what
note,
I did wrong.
somebody
then.
out there,
Yeah.
because we talked about Cowboy night. I'm like, man, that'd throw me behind going into competition that night. I like that. That's nice.
Do you out here? What do you do? Just bring your dummy, or do you just go somewhere, or did you go out horseman's, or where?
No, Matt and Malcolm. I became great friends with Matt and Danny, and kept horses there even when I was traveling through Vegas. But they always were so awesome and letting me stay. I would bring cattle. I would bring horses. I would bring that village that I talk about.
Yeah.
You know, and we would just set up shop there.
You just didn't naturally become. You had to actually practice.
Here, and I got another good question for you. So we had Tough on May, and one of the things that kind of light bulb went on us, and you all being family, and this is, you know, I've been doing the rodeo since '99, you know, kind of watching you come up. But one of the things I am always prepared for, just being on the production side, is Thanksgiving's kind of out the door. I mean, it's there, but the next week is NFR. But you guys there's a lot of gold buckles at your Thanksgiving.
Oh, for sure.
So Tough alluded to some things, but I want to see your take on this. He said it gets a little competitive during Thanksgiving time as you guys head into NFR. I mean, is there things that you partake in out in the ranch or flag football?
Oh yeah, well, we kind of try to keep the flag football at bay since it's so close to NFR.
We don't need an ACL,
especially at my age. You know, you can get a hammy anytime.
But you can coach at this point. Yeah, you earned that. Okay,
but I mean,
quarterback for both teams.
I don't know how many times. I mean, the girls do all the work. I mean, that's a standard theme in most of our careers anyway.
Yes, it
but
is.
Shada, it's really important to her to have the family there, and so as much as some of the guys want to go to the Cowboy game or something, we all stay right there, and I'm thankful to the women of everybody's family that keep that together, because that doesn't happen without work either. And so me and Tough, Cliff, Clint, whoever it is, what may be practicing up until it's time to wash your hands, and then we're straight up to the house and take the rest of the day off and be with the family.
That's normal to you, but fans out there hearing that are like, wait a sec, all these guys are getting together on Thanksgiving. I'm just thinking this from the fan side of just knowing that all comes together.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Well, I mean, we all live within. I can throw a rock. You probably couldn't throw a rock that far.
No, I probably can't. I don't have either shoulder left, thank you. 'Cause I rode bareback horses.
No, but I mean, we're all on the same 80 acres.
Oh wow.
You know, so.
Gold Buckleville.
Yeah, it is.
You got Roy's is a little more elevated, so that's Rawhide Hill, and I'm down low.
Are you? I got you. That's Decatur.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But do you guys have so? For instance, last year, you and Tough were going right neck to neck. I mean, do you guys talk about that, or is that kind of just put it off to the side and just know that it's there? And
we don't talk really about the competition.
Yeah.
But I see what he's working on. He sees what I'm working on, and he could go up. We got 2 indoor arenas. We could choose to practice separate, but, you know, it's a high tide raises all ships.
Yeah,
absolutely. So if we're sitting there, I'm seeing him get better, and I get better because of it, and vice versa.
Yep.
No matter, I mean, rodeo's rodeo. Any given day, either if the talent's there, it could go either way. But if we're elevating ourselves to another level, we assure that it comes back to Decatur, Texas.
Oh, wow. But you elevate rodeo in the process.
True.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, that's not what you're trying to do, but that's what happens.
Right. I can see you two guys going at it. That'd be awesome just to sit and.
Yeah. Well, the reason I bring that up is I always like the champion mentality, right? You got guys like Kobe Bryant here, Michael Jordan, hard as heck on their teammates. But not to be hard on them, but to be hard on them to get them to that bar. Do you guys do that? I mean, is there like this kind of, you're hard on Tough to make sure he's getting to that point, what you see where
well, it's hard because we have completely different styles. It's crazy because we practice together. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll have some similarities, but I watched him grow up from when he was 7 years old.
Yeah.
So I've seen the way he's made each thing his own, and I've seen what works for him that may not have worked for other people because he's a freak athlete. And so I try not to force anything the way I've done it, you know, just because that's the way I've done it, because physically we're not the same. Yep. And we just do stuff a little different, and we're able to know each other's style enough to say, I know this is what you normally do.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like it's going this way right now? You know, just not to try to say that we do everything the same, because we don't.
Yeah.
And up on Rawhide Hill sits Caesar watching all of it.
Oh, yeah.
Does he on his porch in his rocking chair watching all of this go down as over
you
his
only
kingdom.
get to buy about 10 or 15 minutes from Super Looper, so you better have the calves loaded, horses warmed up,
Coffee
and call him right then. He doesn't want to watch any of the extracurricular stuff. He wants to just see the action happening.
fly by.
But so knowing that you're watching from the stands this year, are you helping Tough out? Like, so when he rides last night, I mean, do you guys talk about that stuff? We
do talk. I try to, like say, stay out of the way unless he needs me all the time. That's kind of just my way of, because sometimes too much information is a problem.
Yep.
And especially here, confidence is key. And whether you have something that could be something that they need to hear, sometimes it's not what they need to hear in the middle of a 10 go-around competition, because I'm real careful. If it's something that can't be tweaked before they get to the arena, it doesn't get brought up, because confidence is more important than anything out here. And so I just try to keep that up for the guys that I'm with.
That's it's like a bad girlfriend. You don't tell them till after the fact. You know, well, I was going to tell you about so-and-so, you know.
But it makes sense. And this is what they kind of read a lot about champion mentality, but there's so much thought going on up there that you don't want to disrupt it, right? You want to just like where it's at and keep it. You can't get the play back. So hey, the thing I've also noticed about you is your family. You know, when you win, everybody's with you. Kids, wife. I mean, how special has it been growing up in this to where now you're a dad and the way you've ended it? And how's that felt? Like, just some of these guys are single. They're loving Vegas.
Sure.
You see Vegas from a different angle, but how has the whole family thing been for you to kind of just bring them along? I mean, they see everything. They watch what you do, and that's how they grow up.
My son's birthday is December 1st.
Oh, wow.
So he's had 10 of his 12 birthdays in Las Vegas. So when I check,
that's a big Chuck E. Cheese, isn't it? Holy
when
cow.
I check in at the MGM,
Yeah.
they're like, "Where's Tristan Styles?" I mean, they may call him by name. I mean, that's just how my family has been out here. They're just a part of everything I do, and it's been awesome seeing them grow up here. But now it's at that age, you know, I'm so thankful for that timing, and I was able to recognize it, because this year, you know, with the opportunity to come to Vegas, they want to stay and they want to do their things. Tristan's doing great in school, and I even tried to get him out of school a day early to go to the steer open finals with me. He said, "Dad, you can't tell me to make good grades and then not let me go to school."
Raising them right.
You know? And so I was like, "Touche, you got me." But you better make those grades. No.
Who's going to help me?
Well, hey, I know you got a lot. I know you're still busy here at the NFR, and you know we don't want to take up too much time. But this is a beautiful stuff. I mean, thank you for coming on. All we're doing is just trying to share more stories. We would have went deeper with you, Trevor, but you know sometimes, you know, we got other full schedules. We'd have you over here on the couch. And
I didn't want you to break me like that and have me teared up going to my next autograph signing.
We've had that twice.
It's happened a couple times in here.
Real quick, how is it being home? I mean, because you know you're now. Shadow's not a single mom now. Is it different being home every day instead of, you know, rolling down there to Dallas to get on a plane?
My first job is that taking the kids to school, and I love that. I really do.
Great.
That's the one thing. Like, she's like, "I'm gonna take the kids to school." No, you're not. That's when I talk to them.
That's great.
But we split a lot of the stuff that she did when I was gone.
That's awesome.
And it still kicks my butt. So, I mean, like, hats off to moms everywhere.
That's why moms are moms and dads aren't moms right there.
And the craziest thing about moms, I don't care how big and tough the dad looks. When you hold a baby for a minute, you're like, man, my back. And she's like,
she's got two while cooking and entering rodeos.
They may not have big biceps, but there's no stronger animal on the planet.
Agree. Yeah. Well, on that note, man, let's end with moms.
Yes, thank you, moms out there.
For sure.
This would have been a good Mother's Day special.
Absolutely.
Right,
but anyways, thanks for coming on, Trevor. I mean, like,
you bet.
We'll look forward to bringing you back on. We'll talk some more shop, you know, after you kind of evolve your career more or whatever happens at the end of 2020, you know, and we'll just see how that all boils down and get you back.
Now we don't have to slap five or wave every time you ride by calling your rope. Now we can actually sit and visit a little bit. 'Cause I'm
26 just doesn't sound right. I'm done for sure now.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll just kind of pay attention and let you do what you do, and
in case you accidentally win another one there.
But thank you for coming on the show. This was fantastic.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely, Trevor.
Quite a champion, right?
Oh
there.
man. wherever you listen to the NFR Extra podcast, whether it be on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Google Play, or even YouTube. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And let us know what you think of this episode or any episode by leaving a comment.
The next generation of rodeo stars will compete in Las Vegas at the Junior World Finals presented by Yeti. December 5th through 14th at Cowboy Christmas inside the Las Vegas Convention Center, more than 850 youth contestants will compete for titles in 9 events. Bull riding, team roping, tie-down roping, steer wrestling, barrel racing, breakaway, pole bending, mini saddle bronc riding, and mini bareback riding. Competitions start at 9 a.m. daily inside the Wrangler Rodeo Arena. Visit NFRExperience.com for details.
All right, Robbie. I mean, once again, more gold buckles have been in this trailer than anywhere else, I think. Maybe even inside the Thomas Mack Center.
Yes, it has, and we got a special one today.
Here we are
Cool
again,
guy,
right?
This is the busiest guy in Vegas, one of them. I see him everywhere walking around with Kendra and everybody.
And he's a world champ, team roper.
David Motes.
David Motes, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. I'm enjoying the Las Vegas treatment around here.
Are you?
Yeah.
You know, you see all the guys talking about, you know, how Vegas means and what it means to rodeo and everything else, but you've been to both.
Yeah, I went to Oklahoma City in 1973. It was my first time.
That was at the old fairgrounds?
Yep.
Wow.
What year did it go to the Myriad? You remember 78 or 9?
Yeah, I thought it was the early 80s.
Right. That was back when Sean Davis wasn't running it, and there was about 450 people in the arena. You remember those old days? Everybody used to stand. Can you see that now?
No.
You'd have to do CPR.
Get run over. You would get run over now.
Yes.
And that happens a lot. You know, it's funny you bring that up. Here we are, 35 years. Got David. He's been around. He's watched this whole thing come up right here in Vegas. And, once again, not ever confessing to be the cowboy over here. One of the things I remember when they were interviewing him during the 30th anniversary was that he said, he had to clean up rodeo. And to that point, that happens a lot of rodeos.
Yeah.
But he looked at it as a way to, you got to keep this pristine place clean for just that one athlete or two that are out there, right?
Yes.
I mean, is that probably the only place that happens at?
Well, not
or now that they've set the tone, are there others that are copying that?
You talking about keeping just the
Yes,
arena?
yes.
Yeah, except at Pendleton,
Yeah, Pendleton, everybody wwants to get out there, and then you watch somebody get run over, and
Yeah.
the bull fence comes down. And
So
that's why.
Yeah, I'm always
that's
fascinated.
a good question.
I
No.
love the fascination of the rodeo side of things, not even just the competition.
Well, I think back then with that, said that was just kind of a gathering then anyway, wasn't it? I mean, everybody
wanted to be there to see it.
Yeah.
There wasn't really at that old building. There wasn't anywhere else to get. I mean, you had to
there
stand
really
down the
wasn't.
wall. That's why they put the rail there to get up and get out of the way.
Yep.
So, we've had Trevor on now.
Yeah.
And talking shop. David, let's talk about you're versatile on the team roping side. You heel and head.
Yes.
That's a talent. I'm trying to apply it to something else. Maybe it's playing an Ironman football, right? Playing linebacker, tight end, something like that. Was that something that you trained at, or did this just come very natural, and then you worked hard at your natural kind of ability, or?
Yeah, I grew up junior rodeo, and my father was a header, so I heeled, and I mainly grew up heeling, and then for some reason or another, I got to heading, and I had the horses to head, so I started heading more, and it was easy for me to get a heeler versus a header.
Does it work well? Because I see, the switching of teammates and things like that. Did that make you versatile for, to be with other folks, other ropers? And, they're like, I got David, if they needed that, or, is that how that worked for you throughout the seasons?
More or less. It used to be entered twice, rodeo did, team roping did, in the PRCA. So you might go somewhere and you might split a team up. You might head once and heel once. So then when it became enter one time, then naturally it changed everything. You either had to be good at one or the other. And nowadays, you got to be phenomenal at one end or the other end, because otherwise you're going to be sitting on the couch.
Yeah,
because there's so many guys there's so many guys that work so hard at it.
Yeah.
When I was in my prime and mainly doing it a lot, I'd go run 100 steers a day. And you look at Mike's son and all them other guys, they're not sitting on the couch. They are riding 5 or 6 horses, and they are running the 100 steers a day to be good at it. And if you go to any little jackpot, you just see somebody that you've never seen before that's phenomenal. And they got so many training tools now. You can go watch these little kids that barely big enough to swing a rope, and they're throwing a team rope and a rope at a dummy.
Yeah.
And catching from 3 coils back. It's got so fast nowadays that they're getting no times for throwing in the box. Is how aggressive the sport is right now.
Wow.
It don't matter what the score is, they can throw a 35-foot rope 36 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, almost. I mean, that's,
literally.
That's where the sport of team roping is now. And during this week here, I think there's $13 million given away in team roping.
Yep.
Out there at the South Point.
Yes.
Wow. More than the whole National Finals Rodeo
Yes.
gives away.
Yes.
I'm a fan of the sport. I would still like to see $1 million world champions.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that just opens up a new can of worms again. When we have $1 million world champion, you have something to sell sponsors. You have something to idolize. I mean, bull riders, they win $1 million. I think that's outstanding.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
So, somebody that don't have nothing, most people don't have a whole lot of money anyway.
Yep.
And it's very expensive.
Especially in the rodeo business.
Yeah, right? Yeah, when you first won, you're still in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, the brokest guy you'll ever meet in your life is 16th through 20th.
Yeah.
Do you attribute some of this, where you were talking about no times for throwing out of the box and stuff like that, to this setup here at the Thomas and Mack, what they've seen so many times and how quick, off that barrier? And
Yes, I'll have to say that, but where we're seeing it at, it is the score can still be long. It's the training tools they got now. They got so many tools everywhere. I've taught lessons in Brazil. I mean, I've taught lessons in upstate New York,
right?
And I Hawaii. I used to do a lot of clinics. I went through a 20-year period where was one of my incomes. I had a vineyard, but I also did that there, and my passion. So I've been all over doing clinics, and I totally enjoyed it. When I went to Brazil, I think Junior Nogueira's father ended up with my rope bag I left there, because he came up and told me this. I still got your rope bag. Oh, really? Wow. So I mean, that was a tribute to making him where he is now.
Yep.
I mean, you think about the training tools in different places. Well, it's amazing the tools that they have now, and the places that like Trevor and all these guys. Jake and Clay. We can go on and on about the great ones. I idolized Jim Rodriguez. He was my mentor as I was growing up. When I first moved to California, he helped me, and I buddied with him and traveled with him, and so he made me a better, consistent roper.
Right. Where's your vineyard?
It was in Fresno.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's
That
awesome.
sounds good right now.
Yes.
Well, I wasn't wine. I made raisins.
Oh,
I heard it through the grapevine.
Little dancing ones.
Yeah. Did they? How did you teach those little raisins to dance so well? That was
The hot water.
Is that what? That's great.
So it looks like, just kind of here, you've had it at the NFR 21 times.
Yeah.
Okay. But then you healed one of those.
Yes.
So, and that was early. So how did that work out coming here? I mean, was there a different take you had to do things, preparation? I know we talked about, your skill set on that, but how was that different for that one time opposed to the others that you did?
Well, it was, I decided I was going to heal. So I just went to heal that year.
Right.
And then you go to the NFR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, I decided I need to go back to heading.
Did you have a good year? How did you do?
I won second in average healing.
Oh, nice.
And I mean, I did go okay. I did good.
Right. Hold up your hands, please, if you don't mind.
I got them all.
Yeah, you got thumbs, fingers. There we go. Sweet.
Head loop.
All them years, 22 years of catching them here, and you still got all of them.
Oh, I've lost my rope several times here. I mean,
really?
Yeah. Well, finger or a rope.
Pow. Yeah.
Finger or a rope. You
Yes.
go to the bottom and pick that rope up.
Yeah, you can. That's why you wear gloves so you can find it. Yeah. That's what you
Attached to it.
Yeah, you can still find your thumb.
So going from Oklahoma to Vegas, how was that transition for you? I mean, how did that feel coming from this bigger arena, but then you come to Thomas Mack Center, this intimate side, and then we'll kind of go back to this timing.
Yeah.
Right. And the timing side and Oatberry brought this up. He said, you guys were so used to having a bigger field coming out, you got more time. Here you come to this place that literally you have maybe 10 feet to make a decision. Did that increase that kind of that skill set from you guys and the ones that had a hard time catching on?
Well, the only way you can catch on to anything, any movement, Oklahoma City was a bigger arena, and they had them scored a little further, and then you come into this shorter arena. I don't think there's one person that's entered here that doesn't have an arena set up the same size as Thomas and Mack in the last 30 days they practiced.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you got to do the environment. I mean, it was when they had 2 loops, 2 loops at head, 2 loops at the heel, or one of the other 3 loops. You would practice that. You would practice rebuilding, and your partner would set the steer up so that you had a time. Otherwise, a no time, and you're all the way done.
Wow.
And now it's 1-1, so you want to make sure that first loop counts.
Yeah.
Right. Your last year here, who was your partner?
Bob Harris.
Okay, so now you see with social media and you see all these available ways of transportation and stuff like that. Did you guys actually like live together and travel? I mean, or did you meet up at the rodeos? Because there weren't cell phones. You had to. You used to enter them with old rotary phone.
Yeah, and stop every 30 minutes so you get through to the Procom. That was always busy.
Children don't understand the pain.
Oh, they have no idea.
No,
they have no idea what rodeos went through. Yes.
Oh. Yep. And so how did that work out back then? As compared to now, these guys, hell, they can FaceTime each other while one's roping at home or whatever. How did that differ?
Oh, it's so much different now. If you want to know what your steer did, you get a list or call somebody that was there at the last rodeo, and they'll send you a video of it.
Oh. Yes.
So, I mean, that's how much it is now. And everybody that's here, they watch them steers go. I mean, once they have the 3 go-rounds done, the 4th go-round starts a rerun. So that 4th run, the steers will go 4 times. 1 steer, 1 go-round pin, the first pin.
I see.
Nice.
Goes 4 times, the rest go 3 times.
So when you guys travel, I mean, did you all meet central, or how did that work out?
Well, it depends how well you liked your partner.
I got you. Yeah.
Sometimes we travel together. Sometimes we met there.
That's also in the rock and roll business. When you're making money, you tend to like them a little bit, or you tolerate.
You tolerate.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you got to find that middle ground, right? Because you both know what the accomplishment is, and so you got to meet in that middle, right? I mean,
Yes.
you'd have to do that a lot, or did you always have a good relationship with your partner?
Always pretty good relationship. I mean, you can't go by yourself all the time because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
So
So
I've chartered planes, and I did a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So that leads us next piece. Partners or whatever, but we're talking about you won one with your brother.
Yes.
Nice. And it's been different, right? We've had people on here, Robbie, and we talked about brothers and how was that win? I mean, do you guys have like that kind of that tough relationship or tough love kind of relationship, or just straight love relationship? I mean, how does that go, and how did that end that year?
Oh, it was one of them things where we practiced, we grew up together, our goals were the same, to be great at it. And we would be roping the dummy 1,000 loops a day.
Yeah.
No, it didn't matter. I grew up in Mesa, Arizona,
nice.
And we worked hard. We worked hard.
Yeah. That's a pretty common theme in rodeo.
What's that?
Working hard.
Yes, we noticed that yesterday. I said nap with Trevor.
Did you see how he looked at you when you said
3.
that?
No, I don't nap.
That's practice.
That's where
I'm
I'm at.
about practice.
Yes, that's why I have 1 gold buckle from the NFR, and he has 305,000 of
He's
them.
got quite a few. So, all right. So the reason we're going down this family theme. Here we are, 2019. You got a boy that gets to do this, and how does that feel watching young Ryan do what he does? I mean, and we're going to go down a path here just like you saw us with Trevor and ask you some questions. But how is it to see you in the stands watching, your son?
It's outstanding to see that his goals are the same that mine have been, and I still love the passion of it, and he loves the passion of it, and it's so. I mean, it's an opportunity for me to see him, regardless, more often than not, because I'll go practice with him and whatnot. So, it's outstanding.
So you're still roping a bunch.
Oh yeah, I still do.
Yeah.
I still rope.
Do you make him saddle everything like we were talking about with Roy and them, or do you?
Well, I don't have a cane yet, so I'm fine by saddling my own.
Nice. I got you.
But do you guys go back and forth? I mean, do you help? Like, so for instance, like we're talking Trevor. Is there a relationship where you're like, man, I saw him do something last night. I just want to reach out to him real quick.
All I do is tell him just great job or bad steer, whatever. I don't throw no negative at him. I'm positive. I'm a positive person, and he's positive, and he knows he's good. But there's 14 others just as good as him right here.
True. Yeah.
So you got to stay focused and positive.
And so, do you guys have common styles? Does he mimic yours? Because Trevor was talking about him and Tough having different styles. Does your boy have your style, or is it a little different?
It's completely different. My styles is from the 70s and 80s and 90s, and I've switched over to the style now. The first 3 years that Ryan got his card, I rodeoed. I headed for Ryan.
Oh, wow.
For 3 years in a row.
Nice.
We ended up like 17th once, 18th once, and 20th once. We just never made it quite together, the chemistry. And that's when they switched to lighter type of cattle, littler cattle, and I had the big powerful head horses that you don't have to have nowadays. Your horses can be littler, and they can be a little weaker to the saddle horn. And we used to rope old bulldogging cattle every year. From the year before. Yeah. We could call a bulldogger and ask them what our steer did.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they were bigger cattle and they had big horns, and that's how team roping was until
they changed that.
They changed everything completely now.
Left side.
So this is some geeky stuff, but is there a difference on the speed of those? I mean, like who's faster? I mean, sometimes bigger faster is, but I mean, is there a difference in the speed of that?
Well, naturally, the littler horses would be more agile in an arena like this here than a big, powerful horse.
Yeah.
On Salinas or Cheyenne or one of them rodeos like that, big outdoor arenas, it really doesn't matter there quite as much. But when you're refining it down to this little arena, I would have to say a littler horse would be better because they're more agile to turn and pull and face and
get around.
Yeah. So this is kind of this common theme. You know, we're 35 years, you know, at the Thomas Mack Center here in Las Vegas for the NFR. Back when you were coming, 80. This is fun because some of these places don't exist anymore. Yeah. Where did you stay for the first couple of years?
Oh my gosh. I want to say the Stardust. I've stayed at about every place there was that's not here anymore. Yeah. I've stayed at a lot of places around here.
Well, I mean, the reason I bring that up is because we talk about these things, and even Trevor Brazile brought up Treasure Island, right? That's with the pirate ships and stuff like that. That's gone, right?
Used to be.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they call it TI. They tried to get away from the Treasure Island. And then the Stardust. I think we've heard most of a lot. Sam's Town, which, you know, obviously it's still there and it's still hopping, but I mean, that was the place to be. How have you liked seeing Vegas? Because, you know, I grew up here, and the fascinating part is just how the evolution of this place. How have you seen Thomas Mack Center, Las Vegas, wrap itself around the rodeo business? And the reason I bring that up is that other tunnel. Would you have liked to have that other tunnel when you were competing back then?
Probably so.
Yeah.
I mean, just to open more doors and the sponsors. I mean, it used to be you couldn't wear a sponsor in the arena.
Yep.
On your shirt or hat or anything. They went for years like that. I don't think it changed until the late 90s or something.
Yep.
When it finally changed, and that kept rodeo downloaded for quite a while.
Well, they used to also, when that first started, just from your non-rodeo side, you had to pay the PRCA a percentage of the patch program.
Really?
Yeah, if you say it was $100,000 deal, you had to give them 10, wasn't it? Or I mean, it was.
They had a fee that you would have to pay to wear somebody else's logo.
I don't think the patch program was probably favored with a lot of contestants.
Not much, and then it finally somebody said, "Hold on, what are we doing?" Yeah.
So I want to go back to this because I was at the Thomas Mack Center when we built that second tunnel. What did you do prior to that second tunnel? How did you? Because I mean, you had to come where did you go? Where were you practicing? What was going on behind the scenes back there?
I went to Charlie Horky some before Charlie had his place here, but I would go and practice about every day I was here. I'd have a couple horses with me, extra horses. I'd go practice about every day.
Oh, I see. So you'd use, that was your practice horse. You'd get something similar, and then it would.
Yeah, set up.
Interesting.
Or I would take my good horse if I wanted to run 3 or 4 steers on him just to keep him running harder, because in these little indoor arenas, a horse will quit running on you. Because they know the bottom end's coming up, so they'll start scotching before the bottom end. Like bulldogging horses or whatever.
Yep.
Did you make Charlie make it the same size as T?
No, not here.
Just shorten the barrier and or just hurry. I see.
Yeah, shorten the boxes up.
So what are you thinking about team roping now? I mean, what are you seeing? Obviously, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot. I mean, there's young kids doing this. How are you liking where team roping's going, the direction of it?
I love it. I'm glad to be part of the foundation on it because it's so amazing watching these little kids and win money. And that's what they're doing. You can go right upstairs and watch all these kids, and they're phenomenal.
Yep.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And out there at the team roping at the South Point, you have $13 million given away out there.
Doctors and
everybody.
Yeah.
It used to be there'd be 1,000 or 2 team ropers around. Now there's millions.
I got something for this because we've talked about this before. It seems like, and I'm just giving this correlation, but team roping is kind of the golf version for the professional person that, like, let's say, for instance, some guy grew up riding horses and he's like, man, I still want to, he wants to get into that. So is that happening where you got individuals all over this country that love to get into that? There's these kind of these handicaps, if you will. It's very similar to golf. Yes. Are you seeing a lot of that now more than when you were coming up?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
You have a person that his wife might rope.
Oh, wow.
And then his kids will grow up roping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they can't do that in the bull riding.
No,
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, you can't have a lady crawl on a bull. You can, but not very many of them is going to do it.
Yeah, not suggested, right?
Yeah, and team roping, I don't know how many people, but there's a lot of team ropers in the grandstands of the NFR every night. There's a majority of them that's actually did it. They haven't roped a calf.
Yep.
Haven't bulldogged a steer. They haven't rode any rough stock.
Yeah.
But they've all can swing a rope and throw it at a dummy, if nothing else.
Yep.
So I would have to say that team roping came a long ways.
Yeah, I love that. And probably the biggest thrill in my life was when some Ryan Jarrett and those guys that I grew up with, they bumped me up to a 1. And I was so happy until I figured out what a 1 was. They bumped me. They said,
hold up. What is a 1? Because I already,
Well,
with you, Robbie, I'm very curious.
handicapping, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they used to have like a
1 to 10 is what he's saying.
yeah. And I got bumped up to a 1. Was a proud moment. Still didn't have very many partners, but look what I got, kids. All 10 digits.
Well, so, yeah. The concept of this team roping, and the reason why I say this, here we are at Cowboy Christmas, and if you walk around this place, and I'm going to equate it to golf, right? I mean, golf is...
Yep, handicaps.
Yes,
Yep.
You see everything, you see the equipment, and it's everywhere. The market is big for roping, and the kids are doing it. I mean, and then ultimately, like if you go upstairs right here, right? If you go up into the Army F Hunter Christmas, you know, Speed Williams, he's got his own thing up there. He's giving back. So it's this growth process and this business side. I mean, do you work with, is there other people that contact you and say, I want to go rope? It's just like if you want to go golf on a golf outing. I mean, are you developing those kind of relationships with just sponsors or CEOs or?
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that call and I give private lessons. And so, yeah, I'm still helping people out. My friends, I always help out. And I practice about every day.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
How often a week do you rope? I mean, most of the time.
When it's not freezing cold, about every day.
You just go and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 4 horses and I ride them.
That's great. Still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You're in pretty doggone good shape.
Well, I don't know about that, but
if you're getting on a horse and rope, yeah, absolutely, yeah. No.
I survive it.
So, I mean, how do you like this outlook here, 2019 NFR? I mean, how do you see this thing ending for? I mean, you got anybody that you're looking at that you like? I mean,
well, my son was my top priority pick, and they've had too many no times now. So, as far as the world, Clay Smith is going to be my pick right now.
Yeah,
him and Jake Corkill, and I would like to see Clay win the all around because he's right there within 10,000 or something. So it all plays on what they do the next 3 nights.
Yeah. So that's the other. Okay, so we've been pretty kind of amazed by Stetson, right, and the all around. How does that work on the competition side? I mean, I'm not saying that Smith wants Stetson to not do well, but I mean,
right?
You do want that all around. So you guys are all really good to each other. How does that play out when you really want something, but you don't want someone to do well, but you want them to be good? Or I always try to wrap my mind around that.
You always want to wish everybody good luck, and but you want to wish yourself 1 notch better luck.
Oh, that's a better way to put it.
As simple as that. As simple as that. I don't wish nobody bad luck.
Yeah.
But I wish myself better luck.
Yeah, absolutely. And that eliminates the karma element, doesn't it? Because karma is rodeo.
Oh, karma will bite you in the butt.
I'm kidding.
You ain't kidding.
Well, I tell you, there's things that we've learned from the team roping side that a lot of folks, listening out there are taking notes, because as I've learned, team roping, it is a true cowboy skill. And this is the thing that I think some of the listeners don't understand is the true cowboy side is on the roping side. Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
That's what I hear.
It's the working.
That's what I hear.
It's the working cowboy side, and
why is that?
Well, from the industry, I feel like, I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Well, I think that in a riding event, your time's limited.
Yep.
In roping, you can rope just like me. I'm 66 years old, and I'm still do it. And there's guys out here 80 years old still crawling on and roping and whatnot.
Oh, nice.
You can't do that roping a calf. You can't do that in anything else. Just team roping, we're fortunate enough to stay on your horse.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
I got a funny story about team roping. I was lucky enough a few years ago to sit with the governor of Idaho, Butch Otter. You know Butch?
Yeah, he ropes, yeah.
Yeah, he's a great roper. So we're sitting up there having a Coors one night after the rodeo, and he says, come up and hang out with me a little bit. So we do. And he's sitting up there, and I said, we had a good time. He plays guitar, so he came down and played, and he says, next year when you come do this rodeo, just come stay with me. I said, I can't get in the governor's mansion. He said, I don't live in no damn governor's mansion. He said, every day at 9 o'clock I saddle my horse, and most of the jobs that I get done during the day as governor are on that horse. The decisions I make.
Nice.
And he said, and that it made me laugh that he would. I just had to laugh at him because he's like, I know that governor's mansion is boarded. I don't go there very often. Maybe if we have a formal or something. I'm roping every day. And I thought that was so, just such a testament to the Cowboy. Yeah. He used to rope with Malcolm Baldridge before he got killed. Right. You remember when that happened? And, he was the Interior
Secretary of State.
Yeah, the Interior Secretary for Ronald Reagan, and he got killed team roping, didn't he? Yeah.
So
Cowboy.
Does that work for you, David? I mean, like, is there kind of like when you're on the horse and you're out there doing what you do, is everything just behind you and you're just kind of like, that's your sweet spot?
More or less. I put my phone down and they can catch me when I get done.
Yeah.
Once in a while, if I'm waiting for a phone call, I'll take it, but otherwise I don't even worry about it. My peace of mind.
Yeah, no, we all need that. We all need that.
Yeah.
I mean, Robbie in front of a bull.
Yeah, that's when you step through that gate, it changes.
Changes
you
everything.
Have anything. Yeah, for 2 hours, that's just solace.
So, is there we were talking to Trevor? Is there any moment that sticks out in your NFR history? Just one that, I mean, you have many, but there's got to be one that tried you or you were tested.
Oh, the last time I roped here, I hickeyed a horn on about the 8th steer. It's some things you don't forget.
What year was that?
2000.
Oh man, wow.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So I remember the bad luck. I remember when I lost my rope here, and then I remember the times that I won the world here, and I won the average here 4 times, and so I thrive on stuff like that.
Oh man.
I bet that's
never
a fun ride home. Though.
Victory. Yeah. Now that makes it ride a lot better.
Yes, sir. It does.
So what else do you do when you're here in Vegas? Now, coming back, obviously, past 20 years, not really competing, kind of. What do you do when you come here?
I go to the Cowboy Christmas, and I do a lot of visiting. I know a lot of people around. I go visit my sponsors and whatnot.
Yeah.
Brag on your boy.
Brag on my boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, David, this has been good.
Thank you so much for coming by here.
Had Trevor on here. Man.
It's a good day.
So, yeah, I mean, David, we've been very fortunate. We have guys like yourself all week long learning the championship mentality, kind of the NFR stories. I want to thank you adding more to this, and thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Perfect.
Good luck this week.
Thanks for listening to the NFR Extra podcast. Make sure to give us a review and rating on wherever you listen to NFR Extra. For more information regarding the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, visit NFRexperience.com and follow Las Vegas NFR on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube.
Gotta make it out to Vegas, where the big boys roam, with the rovers and the racers and the bulls and the broncs, and the ladies in the skin-tight wranglers and the cowboy hat.